Hey guys, in this video, we're gonna be talking about what can you write off on a rental property? That's the question. What can you write off on a rental property? And the answer is almost everything that you incur or have to spend. So when you buy a rental property, if you buy it and then you rent it out, any expense beyond there typically is gonna be able to be written off. The only catch is if you buy a rental property and then you rehab and you update that property first and then you rent it off, those rehab and update costs are gonna be rolled into the purchase price and they're not necessarily gonna be written off. They're just gonna be included in the entire purchase of the property, which is gonna increase your cost basis. But once that property is rented out, any expense that you incur that's reasonable will allow you to write off. So some of these expenses are gonna typically look like your maintenance, any capital expenditures that you may have to do over time, like a new roof or a new HVAC, or maybe you have to update the property with this and that. Those expenses can be written off. Also, any mortgage interest that you pay to your local bank or credit union or lender can be written off. The interest expense can be written off. Additionally, you can write off travel if the property is not in your town or city and you have to travel to manage or to work on the property. You know, any travel could be gas, could be airlines, could be hotels. Those expenses typically can be written off. If you have any property management fees, those expenses can be written off. If you have to pay an accountant to help you file your taxes, and it's in regards to that particular rental property or properties, you can write off that accounting and or those legal expenses. If you have to evict a tenant and you have expenses with the court or with an eviction attorney, you can write those off. Practically anything that you spend money on after it's rented, that's the key word here, after the property is rented, can be written off, assuming those expenses are directed towards that property. I can't go spend money outside of this property and write those off. It has to be expenses that are spent either on or in some way, shape, or form that are related to that subject rental property. So that's the beautiful thing about owning rental properties, is that we can write off almost every dollar that we spend, assuming that we're spending it on that rental property. So again, the main things that we're gonna be writing off here are gonna be the mortgage interest. We're gonna be writing off any of the maintenance. We're gonna be writing off any of the property management fees, any of the accounting, any of the legal, any of the travel, and essentially anything that we're gonna need to spend money on that property will be eligible to be written off. Now, I highly recommend that you go find yourself an accountant or a CPA or even a bookkeeper at a minimum who is gonna help you keep track of all these expenses. And then you can dive deeper to see, how you can use these expenses to write things off. But to answer the simple question of what can you write off on a rental property, and the simple answer is almost everything, but it's after the property is rented, not before. So if you buy a property and you need to fix that property up, you're not necessarily allowed to write off, the purchase price or any of those rehab expenses prior to renting it. But if you rent that property and it's creating income and you have a tenant there, any expense that you have at that point is typically going to be eligible to be written off. But again, I want you to contact your licensed accountant or CPA because that's what they do. That's their job. So I always lean heavily on my CPA to help me understand, what expenses can be written off and what can't. And if I'm being honest and I'm doing things the right way, there's very, very few things that they're gonna tell me that I can't write off. The main thing is I can't go buy something for, myself, my home, or another property and write it off on this property. You gotta be fair, you gotta be honest. And when it comes to filing taxes and dealing with the IRS, you gotta be transparent. So just keep that in mind. But the simple answer is almost everything after that property is rented, almost every expense you have can be written off. And that's the beautiful thing about rentals. Guys, I love teaching people how to buy rentals, how to sell rentals, how to acquire assets, and I love using the BRRRR method to do it with little to no money. So if you want to learn more and you want to work personally and directly with me, go check out BRRRRmethodmastery.com, and you can learn more about the BRRRR method, learn more about owning and acquiring rental properties, and my personal favorite, learn about how to acquire them with little to no money in the end with this amazing strategy called the BRRRR method. Check it out, BRRRRmethodmastery.com. And guys, if you found value in this video, please like and subscribe for more. And I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. Have a great day.